Okay. Hello. Evening, everyone. Looks like we're live, or now we are at least. Stream looks blank. There it is. Fixed it. Okay, cool. Cool. All right. Anyway, welcome back to Dragon Age 2. Gonna be continuing tonight, going through Act 2, doing stuff with the Qunari, hence the thumbnail with the Arashok. Gonna be doing some other things, some more just awful things happening in and around Kirkwall, because it's a terrible, terrible place. It's just a nasty city, apparently. There's been quite a lot in the news as well to talk about, I'm sure. So current events may pop up, of course. But we'll see. We'll see. You guys don't wind up wanting to talk about any of that. I have no problem skipping right over it. Ahoy, Kevin. Howdy. Howdy doing? Where are we going? I have no idea. Ah! That's a lot of bandits. Okay, cool. Well, let's just do a firestorm right in front of them. That was delightful. Alright, anyway. Ow! Oh! Hello. Oh! Oh boy. I seem to have been one-shotted. No, not that. I want Tempest. There we go. I don't know! Hawke is down! That's not great. Oh boy. Uh-oh. Whee! That's cool. Chain lightning. Appleton's supposed to be tanking, but she's doing no damage over there. Alright, that's fine. That's normal. Anyway. Hi, Hawke. Ah. Injury kit. That's necessary. Anyway. Oops. I got backstabbed. That's terrible. Alright. The Invisible Sisters have a hideout that we can go beat them up at, because that's terrible. That was irritating. Very irritating. Some the dog. Anyway, so like I was saying, I'm sure there's been quite a bit of stuff going on in the news lately, so I'm sure that can be a set of topics for discussion if we'd like. But otherwise, I also, as you can tell, I'm a little bit better dressed than I usually am for these streams, and that is because I'm just coming from class. I just had class today. This is the first post-class stream of the semester. Not first class of the semester. That was Tuesday, but I was. Oh God. It was a good day. It was a good class. It was a well, set of good classes. I've got 3, and I have to say, very positively, in a very good way, that I don't have a favorite yet. And I think, so it seems so far at least, that the main reason I don't have a favorite is because none of them are bad. I don't have the usual dreariness that I'll often get in a late morning class, and I don't have any. Inattentiveness or just sleeping in my 9:40 class that I sometimes fear. And I just have generally a good set of classes, it seems, this semester. I'm very happy to say. What's going on here? It's loading, and it wants me to confirm. I don't have a problem here. There we go. Anyway. Well, that's the way out. Alright, well. Kevin, I see you're here. And whoever else. I don't know. Hold on. Let me see here. I may need to turn down the screaming if I can. Yeah, that's kind of loud. Let's see if I can do this right now. I'm just realizing this is a little loud in the screaming. I think that would mean turning down dialogue. I guess I hate that they consider screaming dialogue, but let's see if that helps. Anyway, yeah, I think that helped a little. Hard to tell. Kevin says after tomorrow I'm on vacation, mandatory vacation. Oh, is this a COOF related vacation? Because that's less than ideal, but it's okay. Still counts, I suppose, but... There we go. Come here, table. Okay. Kevin says many women also see yelling as dialogue. Oh. I would say you're gonna get me canceled, but if it hasn't happened already, I'm not sure that it will. Nah, he needs mana to heal himself. I'm gonna do something really quick. I'm actually gonna turn down the game volume this way. Sort of directly. There. So I don't have to worry about it in game. Yeah. Yeah, Maker's Hammer. Love it. Kevin says, oh, and no, I don't have the COOF, too much testosterone. Good. That's good. That's definitely good. I mean, doesn't that just mean that if you get it, like, nothing bad happens? Or does it mean that you just don't get it? Or I don't quite know in terms of what confers what kind of immunity. All I know is there are a great deal of different kinds of immunity. Which is a weird thing, but, you know. All right. That it? No, none of these doors are real doors. They're just there for pretend, and so is the rest of the map. Okay. Fine. Did I finish it? It's bizarre. Not that. I'm gonna have to do all of these. Maybe tonight. Oh, no, we can do that. Kevin says testosterone shield prevents infection. Oh, good. See, So, okay, let me clarify. Let me make one point that is somewhat relevant before I say anything too spicy, I suppose. So I ran into this issue today, which no one has told me about, and I'm a little disappointed by. I'm kind of deeply upset by the fact of this. Kevin says, "Watch me get it now because of irony." Of course, naturally. I don't know. But yeah, it's one of these where I noticed something today that I wish I had been informed of, so I maybe could have done something about it. Although at the same time, it doesn't seem like there's anything I can really do about it. So I found out today that that YouTube is running ads on a lot of my videos, like on a lot of my my class videos, the ones that I assign like as homework for my students, which I cannot describe how much that annoys me. I mean, it deeply annoys me how much YouTube, without me being in the partner program, right? I'm not partnered. I'm not monetized. Nothing. I've said this before. I'll say it again. My goal is to never monetize or never run ads on my educational content. The streams, on the playbacks of the streams, I don't know, maybe if I ever wind up getting enough subscribers and all that, then maybe I would do like on the playbacks for the streams, things like that. But on my videos proper, I would never want to run ads because I don't want to put an ad wall between my students and their homework, you know? And it just drives me insane. It bothers me quite a lot that YouTube would do that, would put ads on explicitly educational content that is designed for classes, for classroom use. And yes, I can skip it. Yes, I can put an ad blocker on the school computers, which I have been doing persistently. But still, it's maybe not quite enough to alleviate my annoyance, because students don't necessarily do that, which I'll also notice. Also worth noting, the current generation, the Zoomers, do not know technology terribly well. At least not how to fiddle with it. They know how technology works, like they know their apps and their Snap something, whatever, I don't care. They know their things, but they don't know how to fiddle with technology like millennials tend to. It's one good thing I can say about my god-awful generation is that we know how to do technology, right? Whereas I know a lot of Zoomers, including a lot of my students, who don't know what a file directory is, or don't know where their download folder is, and things like this. You know? And so I can't necessarily expect them to be able to block ads as quickly and simply as us older folks tend to. Much as I would love to encourage them to do that. But yeah, it's it really irritates me. I've been trying to just sort of submit ad reports to try to coerce YouTube into stopping it. My next up would be to start saying stuff that would make my videos non-advertiser friendly, or at least my channel non-advertiser friendly. It might work. I don't know.
You are Hawke. A patrol went missing along the wounded coast. The Arishok says you have some semblance of honor.
Yeah,
so
okay.
Tell me, did you kill them?
If I did kill them, why would I tell you? You just attacked me.
I seek an answer to a question. What has happened to the missing Karatam? Vengeance is not relevant to this task.
Okay.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I believe you. If you are not responsible, I waste my time here.
Okay. Fair enough. Let me grab Isabella. Hello?
If anyone tries to sell you clams, just say no. The last time I had clams in the docks, I was sick for a week.
Okay. Kevin says, just start saying the cuss words a lot. Yeah, maybe.
I have something I should do.
Yeah, maybe.
I'll put it off if that's what you want, but I need a reason.
It's nothing, really. I'm sure we have plenty to do, and I don't want to interrupt too much.
Okay.
Hey, I think I knew that man back in Antiva. Bye!
That's sketchy. I love that. The just like hunched sitting on the throne. It's delightful.
Sirrah Hawke.
Messer?
Last we met, I did not know your name. Did not care to. You have changed your fortune over the years. The Kunari have not. I offer a courtesy, Hawke. Someone has stolen what he thinks is the formula for Gatlock. You will want to hunt him.
Sounds like the recovery should be worth something to me.
1,000 lives. The stolen formula was a decoy. Sarkamek, a poison gas, not explosives. A small amount is dangerous enough to your kind, but if made in quantity, perhaps by someone intending to sell it.
That merchant, Javaris.
Would he be cautious? Or would he assume success and make enough to threaten a district? A courtesy, Hawke. You will want to hunt him.
Well, that's just great. This seems like a threat to me. If not directly, then veiled. Also, in other unrelated YouTube-y news, I'm deciding to try G Fuel. I saw this was at the PewDiePie one was at the store. Hold on. Anyway, I saw this was at the store when I was shopping last time. And, figured I'd try it because why not? That's really good. It's got that energy drinky, like sugar-free kind of aftertaste, like probably, I don't know, aspartame or whatever. Yeah, it says no sugar, but it doesn't say what it's sweetened by. Yeah, it definitely has that artificial sweetener taste. But other than that, it is actually really good. Yeah. Anyway, I'm trying that, giving that a shot. But yeah, I like I said, I'm kind of peeved about the whole YouTube is giving my students ads thing. Thankfully, they don't play on embedded videos, so if I actually just put them in the course module, then it doesn't display ads. But it's still irritating.
It took Javaris long enough to come up with this. Are you sure it was him?
Others have asked for the Gatlock, but only he chose to delude himself beyond no. Is 3 years so long to a hateful fool? I have no way of understanding such weakness. His crime seems obvious. Further evidence could be the deaths of many. I wouldn't wait.
I barely spoke to you 3 years ago. Why give me this warning?
You are capable, but I have yet to decide if you are capable of understanding. Save your streets from this fool dwarf. Then we will talk.
Interesting.
So, how dangerous does this fake mixture become?
It is not a threat to Kunari. For your kind, it is as dangerous as those who breathe it.
Can you elaborate?
The gas kills, but first it turns allies against their own in blind rage. So, the greater the skill of those sent against us, the more dangerous they become to their own people.
Hard to control at the best of times.
It is no longer our problem.
So first of all, that's super war crime territory. Especially to just drop it in the hands of somebody and tell them that it's something else, or convince them that it's something else, just to teach a lesson. So yeah, the Kunari are awful. But even beyond that, the war crime thing, this seems particularly odd for them, because we learn gradually that the Kunari are a people, not a race, right? So if this doesn't affect them, the horned people, the, what are they called? There's a name for them. I can't think of it. But the species, if it doesn't affect the species, that doesn't matter much. If it affects other Kunari, in other words, other non-Kossith, that's what they're called. Kossith are the species. Other non-Kossith Kunari. So they're allies, basically. People who join their society who are humans and elves and dwarves, right? Which is a thing that exists. It's established in this game that this weapon doesn't seem to be too concerned with. But hey, who said the Kunari had any concern for innocent lives?
So, you just leave the decoy laying around?
We did not make it easy. 3 Kunari died defending it, enough to impart a sense of worth. If the real formula were at risk, Akyun would demand that we protect it to the last of us.
Can't say I appreciate being saddled with this mess.
Your thief set this in motion, not us.
Yes, you did.
I was tempted to let it come to its expected end. Panahedon, Hawke. It will be interesting to see if you die.
So, hunting a thief. Asking at the coterie would be a good bet.
Yeah, that's great. No, this is terrorism, pretty much. Which is that's one of those advertiser unfriendly words. I think, probably. But yeah, no, that's very straightforwardly terrorism on the part of the Kunari. But yeah, what are you gonna do? I guess solve the problem. Love to just, dump them in the ocean, but all right, let's see.
Sunshine, Daisy, Ravani. What am I?
Beg your pardon?
You don't call anyone by name except for me. Where's my nickname?
That's not true. There's Hawke and Bianca.
Hawke is a family name, and Bianca is a crossbow. Don't change the subject.
Haven't thought of a good one yet. What do you think of Red?
Too common.
Well, when you think of one, let me know.
You haven't thought of one. It's been 4 years. Or 3 years, whatever, still.
What do you
Hey, WizKid, how's it going?
Package delivery.
I'm Hawke. I got a letter from some mage friends.
I see. Check the back of the board for our special rates.
WizKid says, I remember this one. Wait, which one do you remember? The conversation with, the conversation between Aveline and Varric? Because, yeah, I like I keep saying over and over throughout these streams, the Thursday streams, the Dragon Age 2 ones, the dialogue, especially the party banter in this game, is incredible. The writing for this game is wonderful.
I won't
It's amazing.
stand by while mages suffer.
That was a
Bless you,
weird
love.
pause.
The board has all the details. Should you take care of something, just drop by.
Oh, good. So WizKid says, remember how I have to download malware? Well, I found a workaround. Cool. What sort? Physical damage. Yeah, let's sell it. Whoa, that is actually pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good. She can keep that. I'll switch that to her. Evelyn. Then great. Nothing we need. Ooh. Varric. Fenris. What's this? I think I have the design for that. All junk. And back. How about... it's a cute little Targe. I like it. So yeah, what was the workaround? I'm super curious. I will happily discuss that, especially just because... oh, jeez. Well, that's not a great, easy workaround, but it is one. So, WizKid says, I installed a whole second version of Windows 10 for it to ruin instead. If it works, it works. If it works, it works. I'm sure there might be a better way of doing it, but all right, if you got to do what you got to do, you know. So to clarify the situation, as I understand it, it is concerned justifiably about downloading some of that testing software I've ranted about quite a bit. Not quite to the same degree as Proctorio or anything like that. But it's one of those that sort of locks down your computer so you can't cheat on the internet kind of thing. Which, I mean, fine. That's great, but I still insist a couple of things about this. One, insisting that your students literally download malware, because it does. It constantly monitors your activity on your computer. It alters your directory and some of your really basic programming of your computer, which is not okay. And then also, listen, one educator to presumably another. Uh-oh, am I lagging? What happened? Oh my, hold on a minute. Hang on a second. Alright, let me... Hello. Okay, it looks like we're hopefully back. Are we back? Does everyone hear me okay? Was there a weird jump? Yeah. Anyway, okay, so what I was saying, from one educator to any other who winds up listening to this, and again, feel free to repeat this. Let's let them talk.
What is it now?
Looked up to her.
Over who was the model for your guard serial.
Hard in Hightown. Riveting stuff. Everyone loves a dirty guard on the edge.
Varric.
Fine, I'll start as Big Finish. 3 chapters until Don and Brennakovic retires and opens a tavern on the coast. I sure hope he makes it. He's getting too old for this shit.
I love it. Oh my god, I love it. Alright, so if you haven't read or listened to Hard in Hightown, you should. You 100% should. I will, I'm gonna put a link to it, in the description. And also I'll put it in the gaming tab, in the gaming channel on the Discord. If you haven't read or listened to Hard in Hightown, you desperately need to. I'm thinking about doing an audiobook recording of the thing, because it's not very long. It would be like an hour's worth of recording, maybe. So yeah, I'm really thinking about it. If you'd love to hear that from me, let me know, because I love it. It's such a well-written, pulpy serial thing. It's amazing. Anyway, sorry about that. Sorry about the lag. So from one educator to hopefully another who catches this, or you repeat this to them, or whatever. If you can't come up with an assignment that cannot be cheated, or that you can't tell if it's being cheated, then you have done a poor job coming up with an assignment and you need to try again. That's all. That's really what it comes down to. Yes, I understand that online teaching provides its own challenges in terms of assessment, right? And yeah, that's fine. I get that. I do. I really do understand. I've taught online quite a great deal, especially in the last year or so. I've done it long before as well, so I have some good experience with it. But if you can't come up with an assignment that assesses the student's knowledge without having to basically spy on them to make sure they're not cheating, then you've done a poor job designing an assignment. So, get good, teachers. Ugh. I'm embarrassed by the state of my profession sometimes. Anyway, WizKid said I stayed up until 2 in the morning. I've done that often. I do that most of the time. Anyway. And he also says, I will raise hell when I step onto campus next semester. Please do. Please do. This needs to stop. This cannot this cannot continue as a sort of national trend like it's unfortunately becoming. Irritating as all hell. No, Kevin, proctorio has nothing to do with butts. It has to do with proctoring an exam. Basically, you went here for my brief explanation of this like last week, I think twice. So what it does is it pirates your computer's everything. It takes control of basically your entire computer. It turns on your webcam and it records you taking an exam. And it records the ambient lighting in the room, movement in the periphery. It monitors your hand movements. So if your hands leave the keyboard, it also even monitors your eye movements. So if your eyes flick to a different screen or look away from the screen or anything, your professor gets an alert. This is a horrifying invasion of privacy and should never be acceptable by anyone under any circumstances ever. Any instructor who uses proctorio should be drummed out of the profession. They need to retire or they need to be fired. And I give the option of retirement purely because firing a tenured professor is basically impossible. Last time I even heard of it happening, it involved a several-day parole-violating bender in Las Vegas, which is how I got a job. Anyway, allegedly, I have no details about any of this, but firing a tenured professor is very difficult, and it usually needs to involve extreme criminal activity. So anyway, WizKid says the best part is that it's mandatory for the entire University of Michigan Flint, to an extent that they even have a download link on the university website. That's horrifying. Honestly, I wonder if you can threaten legal action. Honestly. Either that or massive media publication. Like go extremely public. Those are the two things universities are afraid of. And I know this from experience. That universities are absolutely terrified of bad publicity and they're absolutely terrified of legal action. Either of those things, if there is a legitimate threat of either widespread bad publicity or legal action, universities have a tendency to cave. There you go. WizKid says, I'm going to flex by not wearing any shirts when I'm taking my exams and they can't stop me. That's true. It's a good idea. It's a good idea. Okay, I'll cut out the incense. Sorry. Unfortunately, Kevin, you're correct. It seems like butts might come into play, at least indirectly. Yeah, very unfortunately.
We are. Limited districts, limited contracts. Keeps territory clear and separate from the start. He had a meager lot, but he skipped with dues outstanding. So up it goes.
This kid says, like I said, I'm going to raise hell as soon as I can get enough people to rally around it. Please do. Kylie, I don't know if you're around, but you did mention you might not be here tonight. So if you do tune in, if you go back and hear this, I recommend likewise.
There's a lot riding on finding Javaris. Can you help?
The members of our little fellowship expect privacy, but he skipped out on paying me, too. Javara's left in a hurry. I'd put him at Smuggler's Cut if he's avoiding patrols. It empties at a cave outside town. Tell him I said, don't come back.
Not the trail I'd expect from a master thief. Just saying.
Huh. A little weird. This isn't... Oh, hey. This isn't quite how I remember the gunpowder plot quest. Not gunpowder plot, you know what I mean. Through sheer force of will, Aveline refuses to be knocked off her feet or stunned. I love it. Yes. It's so Aveline. All right. Listen. Okay, Kevin says, "Yeah, man, the stream is like chili without our bean. Beanless chili won't do, Kylie." Listen, she has actual important life things. Like it is the first week of the semester for her as well. So, not. Real life does in fact still matter, probably more than hanging out on stream. Ah, jeez. Love the firestorm spell. I guess we'll have to be suited with beanless chili for at least now, at least for the moment. Womp. Womp. What? There's someone behind us. Oh, jeez. Hi. Ah. Woo! Okay, wow, that was... Am I under-leveled somehow for some of these? Uh-oh. Anyway, I actually don't know that. Anyway. Oh no, WizKids is like the homework I'm putting off. Dude, don't do that. Don't say that, especially. No. No. Can't be putting off homework. Ooh. Yeah. Like it. Alright, Varric. There. Yeah. He's a bard. It's 100% a bard. I love it. Alright. Kevin says, "Oh, I guess, but I'm gonna grouse about it. Where's my beans?" I need a cat in here so I can wave their feet around for the beans. Substitute beans. Erica, do you have a cat available? And throw in here at me? I'm assuming no, and that they would not tolerate such a thing, but... Never know. Okay. Oh, it's a door. That's a nice hidden door. All right. Kevin says I can often be placated by kitties. Yeah, I can guarantee no kitties, unfortunately, but I can try. We'll see. Whisket says those don't sound like an appropriate substitute for your chili. No, I mean, no, don't put kitties in your chili. Don't do that. But like, you know, beans. Get it? Because the little toes are beans. Oh god, Wuhan chili. Isn't that... Well, I'm trying to get demonetized at this point, so I can just say, isn't that supposed to be bat, though? Yeah, WizKid, you weren't here yet when I was mentioning this, I don't think, but I've been encountering this problem where YouTube is running ads on my non-monetized videos. You know, my educational content, the stuff that I give to my students for their classes. Which I intentionally do not want monetized. Because, you know, I'd rather them not be... I'd rather not make my students sit through ads to do their homework. It seems a little dystopian to me. Oh boy. Yeah, I got it. Alright, we're fine. We're fine. Whew. All right. Oh my god. Was his no, that was Kevin said. Sorry, it's all meat, bro. Wrong meat. I mean, listen. If it weren't for the whole communicable diseases thing, I would try bat. I would. I'd try bat. Like I said, if it weren't for the whole, like, poor sanitation conditions and communicable diseases thing, I'd give it a shot. Kevin says, well, that's obnoxious. I wonder if you're somehow a threat to them. I don't know. Probably not. It's on things that have a relatively high view count. But the reason they have a relatively high view count is because I literally assign them to my classes. So of course they have a relatively high view count. I have students that are watching them every semester by you know, 60, 70 students who are watching them once or twice per semester. Which, if I did monetize those, I would, again, feel like that would be... I would need to think about this, but I feel like that would be a bit unethical, you know, or at least unprofessional. Maybe not unethical. Certainly unprofessional, though, if I were to, you know, if I were to charge my students, basically have them read or watch ads for their homework, and then I would make money off of that. That seems very unprofessional. Ethically, it's pretty fine. It's so long as, again, everyone's upfront about it. I don't see a specific problem with it. But in terms of ooh, come on, stop taking potions. But in terms of professionalism, that is not professional at all. There. Wizkid says, I go back and forth about trying rodentia, by the way. Guinea pigs sound interesting. I'd go for it. I'd go for it. Sounds interesting. Sounds pretty good, honestly. Kevin says, I'd eat bat. I'd eat most animals. No maggots, though, icky. Yeah, those aren't animals. Technically, even. Yeah, if we're going overly precise, insects are not animals, per se. Are they? Wait. No, they are. They are technically animals. They are technically animals. I'm thinking they're not, different phylum, I think. Same kingdom. I don't know. I don't remember the classifications from like middle school. Sorry. This kid says the fact that there are some professors out there who basically don't believe that knowledge should be free and open to everyone is pretty disgusting. It really is. It's understandable for both personal reasons and for ideological reasons. Bad ideological reasons, but for ideological reasons nonetheless. So there's two real reasons for this. There could be two real reasons for this. One is simple job security. It's in their economic interest to restrict knowledge to those who will pay for it. Same thing as putting up a paywall for your Patreon patron only content or whatever. But the other thing, I don't know if you had a chance, if any of you guys have seen any of the things that I've posted from James Lindsay about critical theory in the various Discord channels recently in the last few days. Especially the one about their negative view of logic, let's say, and of truth in general. This should be deeply troubling to anyone with a mind. Hi. That was awful. How did they sneak up behind us? That doesn't even make sense. WizKid says intellectual property doesn't exist. Yeah, you're right. Obviously. But still, hey, listen to you. Meryl, let's have you do that. There. That was close.
Calm yourself, Javaris. You're not dead yet.
You? Granny's garters, she would hire you. I can't buy a break on discount. You know what? Go ahead. Take my head and pike it back to that sodding elf. I need the rest.
What in blazes are you talking about?
But you don't know? Then what? You're tracking for the Kunari? Then she did it. That elf got them after me for nothing. Bitch born.
I knew he was no burglar. We're not climbers.
Look, I'm minding...
What the fuck is happening?
Same old. And out of the blue, some elf tries to kill me. Says she's got the Kunari powder and I'm her cover. I slipped her, hired some bodyguards, and ran for it. And now you're here. Great.
If you're innocent, you could plead your case to the Arashok.
Let's break this down.
This is so bizarre.
An elf with explosives wants me dead. Part 2, the Kunari may think I'm a thief and also want me dead. Either option seem promising? Didn't think so. Here. Want to drag Dark into light? I had a man follow her. The elf's in Lowtown. I just want to get out with my dead guards. Thanks for that.
All right, fine.
Better luck wherever you're bound, Javaris. The farther, the better.
Right. Got me a rosy future to plan out. Think I'll start by selling some boots. Sodding bunch of... Take a long breath on a short shaft, you blasted dog lord inroaders.
Well, that's rude. Anyway, so actually, now I'll clarify here. So WizKid said intellectual property doesn't exist. That's not strictly true. And yes, I know it pains me to say that, but strictly speaking, intellectual property is a legal fiction. In other words, it's a state-granted monopoly protection. That's all. I was actually talking about this a good deal on Monday, if you recall. I don't know if any of you guys were here Monday, but I was talking about this a good deal just because of like fan works and transformative content and stuff like that. Let's check out the Lost Patrol. Derivative content, fan art, that sort of thing. This is very, very relevant to that kind of thing.
You're incredibly talented, Meryl. I can see you were meant for great things.
Thank you.
But you're stupid.
I'm sorry, what?
Don't you think it would be better to work on where you are now, instead of recreating old glory?
No, that's kind of the opposite of what I've been saying. I'm the stupid one. Whatever.
Wow. Okay, that was terribly, terribly rude, but okay. Let's go this way first. Yeah, basically it's just a intellectual property is just a state-granted monopoly protection, just like any other state-granted monopoly protection. So, yeah. Very, very, very strictly speaking, it's a form of fascism. It is a merger of state and corporate power to the subversion of individual ownership, or at least individual control of the means of production. That's what you got. In any case, like I said, the other reason, the non-strictly economical reason for a lot of educators, a lot of professors, not wanting information freely shared, is ideological. Right? We know that a lot of academics tend to be leftists and tend to be statists and tend to be critical theorists and such, wokeists in general, and they have a particular aversion to the sharing of knowledge for several reasons. And they have a particular aversion in general to truth, even, I would say. WizKid says, or video game anything, especially after the game is no longer easily accessible. Yeah, that's true too. This on Monday, this whole thing was spurred on by the fact that, if you recall, I started playing Far Cry 5 primarily because I love the music so much, and I have been very consistently getting copyright warnings and such, because of the music. And even some of the original score, and that's been driving me insane. And it's by some of those those basically fraudulent third parties, ad revenue trolls. It's awful. Dark Cave, what's this? Interesting. Oh hey, spooters. This place is weird. Evan says, it's weird how fascism is the merger of state and corporate power, but most fascists I know absolutely despise corporations. Well, they want corporations controlled, right? What they don't tend to realize is that by controlling corporations in the way that the fascists do, what they wind up doing is giving them more power, in effect, by giving them the arm of the state to control. By having the state control them, it invites more regulatory capture. What in the world? A dragon? How is there a dragon in here? This is ridiculous. Oh, God. Meryl. Back up. Oh! I'm stunned. That's not good. You're stunned. Haha. Got your back. The only problem is, of course, that fascists don't realize that that's what they're doing. Right? If they did, they would probably oppose corporations in the same way that they oppose the state. Ah, crap. Aveline needs health. But then, if they opposed the state as much as they, say they detest corporations, they wouldn't be fascists. So they'd just be, some species of libertarians with some weird eccentricities, I guess. Maybe some weird aesthetics, if you want. But yeah, that would be Evil Tome, huh? This is great. And one of Tyrone's books. Pages filled with secrets of blood magic. Feel a stirring of power as you look upon it. No! Burn it. Destroy it. Whiskit says, I just love how utterly demons! Utterly demons. Okay, demons, cool. Wait, Meryl didn't like me doing that. That's the bad sign, Meryl. You should be fine with this, honestly. WizKid says, I just love how utterly fascistic people who screech about being anti-fascist actually are. So much cognitive dissonance in the fact that many of these people delude themselves into thinking themselves as counterculture just makes it all the more ironic. Yeah, if you didn't see... I don't know if anyone heard about this. Dave Smith, the comedian who's probably going to run for president as on the Libertarian Party ticket in 24, he had a comedy show in, I think it was Rochester, New York, and he got protested by a pathetic little Antifa showing, like 20 people or something. But basically, they were accusing him, a Jewish anarcho-capitalist comedian, of being a fascist, which I find just hilarious, and he found even more hilarious, and basically did a whole set making fun of them, which was just delightful. It was a great show to watch. I'll put it in the description. I'll probably put it in the art. In the art channel in the Discord server, because it was absolute artistry, a performance to be seen. Definitely worth watching. But he really picks on him for that sort of thing, really, really hard. Anyway,
the Tethras family businesses are registered in your cousin Elman's name.
You don't say.
But I can't find any record of you having a cousin Elmond.
I'll introduce you sometime. He's a little on the shy side.
Oh.
Varric, he's imaginary.
Which makes him a much better head of the household than I am. He never misses the Merchants Guild meetings for one.
He would have a shadow corporation, wouldn't he? That's Varric. Anyway. God, I love Varric so much. Wait, I am surrounded. What happened? How did I suddenly get surrounded? I don't like this. Also, uh-oh. Okay, there we go. Blast. Anyway, but yeah, it's, Kevin says, some of the far-right people I talk to tend to desire a localist, agrarian society with religious and racial homogeneity. I don't know what connection they share with textbook fascists. They share the aesthetics with textbook fascists, and they might share some of the actual political ideology, but it might not be very much also. Localism is just a weird aesthetic thing for most people. In general, localism doesn't really have a political orientation. I don't think. Not really. It's kind of its own thing. It's nonsense, but, it's nonsense other than as a way of circumventing state power, I suppose, right? If you sort of combine it with agorism, it can make some semblance of sense. But just sort of by itself as its own sort of means of economic organization, it's dumb. It's just very dumb. Don't worry, I gotcha. Oh, hey, they were attacked by demons. Of course they were. Let's keep looking around first. Yeah, those sorts of rightists tend to annoy me, I will say. Jeez, this is rough. Yeah! You minx, talking about your crossbow. Anyway. But yeah, they don't tend to have... Those types don't tend to have much of a connection to textbook fascism. Not really. Oh, wow, that didn't work at all. Okay, that's not good. There we go. Yeah, yes, Meryl, I think you're right. Anyway. As I was saying quite some time ago, I think that the sort of wokest left, critical theorists, they oppose truth, right? Fundamentally, and they oppose the widespread of knowledge, in particular, for a couple of reasons. One is their opposition to truth in general, right? Fine, that's kind of its own thing, but for other reasons as well, right? Part of it is their opposition to discourse, right? The idea of objective discourse, the idea that we can have a logical discussion using objective standards that are not artificially imposed by social power, right? And this just goes back to Foucault, right? This is just Foucaultian nonsense, because that's most of what critical theory is just Foucaultian nonsense. Foucauldian, I guess. I don't know. I've seen it both ways. But it's because they think that by participating in the discourse of logic, they are granting power to the white cis heteropatriarchy, which kind of tracks with Derrida as well, with the whole phallogocentrism, where logos, logic, or, you know, if we say logos, we translate that differently, the word of God. Herbalist task, nice. That is simply a tool of patriarchy, right? Of certain power dynamics within society. This is, of course, worse than nonsense. It's evil. It's evil blasphemy, strictly speaking, but it explains quite a bit once you understand it. So WizKid says about self-sufficiency, people just deeply want to be self-sufficient, or about localism, be self-sufficient. I don't think you give modern tech enough credit. I think given enough intelligence and diligence, people could make it self-sufficient if they tried. Yes, but it would be wildly inefficient. Wildly inefficient, right? Yes, we now have the technological capability to make up for that inefficiency with efficient technology. And yeah, currently, you living by yourself, relying only on technology and no systems of trade, or maybe a small community, could live in something like the standards of living that were common 50, 60 years ago. Fine. But you could not in any way live to a modern standard of living without modern structures of production. You need specialization, you need trade. We rely on a global network of specialization and trade. Because we should. Why should we not? It makes literally everyone better off. You can get away with not doing it now, because as a result of doing this for so long, we've accumulated so much, not just technology, but capital, that we can afford to do it, at least for a while. but it's still going to be wildly inefficient. It's going to stagnate growth, and it's going to lead to much lower standards of living than we otherwise could have. Kevin says, I like the idea of local control, agrarianism, religious homogeneity, but the racial thing is silly. I agree completely. It is silly. I like the idea of religious homogeneity for communities, but I also like widespread systems of trade. So you have little homogenous communities that still intermingle for the sake of commerce. Because of course they ought to. Why would they not? WizKid says Foucault was a simp and an incel. Incorrect. He was a gay pedophile who, at least by most accounts, got plenty.
You are in a strange place, Ferelden.
Speak for yourself.
Knowing is half the battle, and it need not be wholly unprofitable, provided few questions are asked.
That's weird. Oh, hi, Kylie. Favorite small bean has arrived. Welcome. You came at a very unfortunate time to have just heard me talking about Foucault and his proclivities. Anyway, I'm so sorry. Withkid says, see, and that's what I mean. Technology would make up for that self-sufficiency, and some trading could make up for what the community has trouble with. If by some trading you mean a global network of trade, okay, fine. Don't need any of these things. Don't need that. Don't need that. Don't need that. All right. Oh, that is actually kind of nice, but nah. The chili is complete. Of course. No. Oh. And I'll sell that one. Ooh, it's not bad. Attack and physical damage. No. Okay, that's strictly better than what he currently has, so I'll keep that one. Get rid of that one. Get rid of that one. Get rid of those. It's all junk. I still can't afford that really nice staff. Full-blooded. It's good for blood magic too. Darn. I feel like that would be good for yeah, that would be good for Meryl, I suppose. Oh well. Shame. Oh well. What else was it? Void's Hammer and something? Oh. Enchanter's Spatterdashes. Ood. Healing by the scare. Oh man, that's actually really good. It's really good. Ring of Transitional Power? Nah. Yeah, I'm gonna get those Enchanter's Spatterdashers. That sounds so fun to say too. Yes, WizKid. Anything that you thought about Foucault, it gets worse. And it's straight from the horse's mouth too. Read his book, The History of Sexuality, or don't. If you want to understand what's going wrong with the world currently, like since the last decade-ish, maybe half a decade, read Foucault's History of Sexuality. Ellie says, I'm currently decorating my notebooks and doing homework. Good. That's a good pair of things to do. I assume, like, not trying to do them necessarily at the same time, but sort of, like, doing some homework, thinking of a decoration or two, and then going back to the homework kind of thing, maybe? I don't know. WizKid says, see, I guess I'm willing to go without some modern luxuries than you are. I still think it's more feasible than you're willing to entertain. I mean, if by modern luxuries you mean, like, microchips. Or, like, you know, pencils. or like food that is not grown in your specific local area. Like, I think you're wildly underestimating the importance of global networks of trade. That's very cutscene-y. Wow. Even the camera angles, man. Oh no! Reminds me of the opening of Mass Effect with Jenkins.
Lieutenant Harley?
Aveline? Thank the Maker.
I take it you know each other.
Harley is one of the guard, recently promoted.
This disaster was my first routine assignment.
Oof, that sucks. Biscuit says the French ruin everything. Yeah, but we get blamed for it sometimes. It's funny, a while ago, was it the English government people from the English government were saying that, like, we're complaining about these sort of wokist ideas were invading from America, and it was like, no, they come from France, not us. It's not our fault. Don't blame us for this. Now we sort of made it go crazy, but France started it. Evan says, I have no idea who Foucault is, but he sounds like a doo-doo brain. Yeah, very much so. It's, I have the book I'm referring to here somewhere. In fact, somewhere. There it is. Listen. Michel Foucault, History of Sexuality. Well, at least this is volume 1. This is the part I've read. And this, I don't actually know how many volumes he finished. I know he didn't, like, finish the book. But this is from 1978. Or no, translation's 1978. Originally published... I don't know. What does it say? I'm trying to figure out. Oh, 76. 1976. I think. Yeah. Yeah, 1976. Originally published. It's awful. It's basically the root of a lot of what's currently a lot of the nonsense that's currently infecting society. So, yeah, if you want to sort of, well, okay, there's a shortcut. If you really want to wrap your mind around wokeism, check out James Lindsay. He's been doing the work for you, so you don't have to. But I had to read that as an undergrad in a history seminar, because it was in a historiography seminar, technically, in a theory of history class, basically, how history is written and that sort of thing. And man, oh man, was that an eye-opening class. Taught by a true believer type, I will say. We read Marx, we read Foucault, we read a little bit of Derrida, we read Calhoun? Not Calhoun. Carlyle. Robert Carlyle. But only as sort of a foil, because the professor wholeheartedly disbelieved in that sort of thing, the big man theory of history. But yeah, it was, and also some associated more contemporary writers writing in either the Marxian or post-Marxian traditions, or as Foucault technically is post-structuralist. But again, they're worth reading, if only to know thine enemy, and these are, in fact, what I would call enemies of all mankind. They are opposed to the idea of knowledge itself. Which is why I think, like I said, a lot of professors tend to want to limit the spread of knowledge, because they see it as on the one hand, if too many people know what they are teaching, they see that as dangerous, because then they will be exposed, so to speak. That's the more malicious actors. But the sort of true believer types would say that knowledge is a tool of power, and so we can't extend these discourses out into the general public, because it will take on the character of the dominant hegemonic discourse, which is logic, which is the phallogocentrism, which is the patriarchy, which is all of this, which will then co-opt it and then use the systems of power as represented by logic, literally as represented by logic and critical thinking and all of that, all of the tools that we ought to use, and that is a kind of oppression that we shouldn't allow, right? And that is a large reason for why a lot of academics don't want information to be spread freely. And it's you're right. You're right. Way a while ago that's absolutely heinous. So
We're not reinforcements if that's what you were waiting for.
Bollocks! Little Bedham must not have made it back. We're up against Everett's marauders.
You're certain about that?
Felden's up there.
Kylie says I'll send pictures of the finished notebooks. Cool.
We
See.
tried two
Not there yet.
up the path, but it's tracked to oblivion. Now I'd be thankful just to get out of here alive.
No fair, guard dog. You brought friends.
Yes. Kevin says, "Oh my gosh, no wonder my professors largely hated me. They were poisoned by those bastards." Yeah, probably. WizKid says, "Oh, that's cool. I hate how these people are always the ones who worm their way into positions where they can disseminate their knowledge and wisdom." A lot of it is strategic. Right? It was the methods of the Frankfurt School, which was the sort of English and American, that sort of Anglosphere side of the postmodern wokeists, and they're in the sort of early period, the sort of middle of the 20th century, mostly the 60s, 70s. If you've heard the term, the Long March through the institutions was seen as a gradual takeover of the universities, of the administrative state, of localities, and basically every position of cultural and political authority was gradually infiltrated by people like this, and very, very intentionally so. You can read this in their strategies from 50 years ago. Beyond that, also, there is a particular kind of perverse incentive provided economically by the state for academics, in particular, to support institutional structures like the state. Rothbard talked about this quite a bit in a fantastic essay, which was originally a speech. I'll see if I can find it. It was about his sort of paleo strategy of sort of uniting the libertarians with the more conventional paleo-conservative right, the old right, if you will, the anti-war right, basically, in the 90s. I was just reading it today. It should not be hard to find, so I'll put that in the description as well. And he talks about this in terms of why academics tend to be authoritarians, which is, one step away from wokeists anyway. He was actually foreseeing a lot of these woke problems in, the early 90s. I'm amazed by that. It's Murray Rothbard, by the way, who's brilliant. Teamwork. Hawke is the champion.
The longer we wait, the more of us they'll kill. Let's attack now.
I'm with you, but my men may be too rattled to join us.
Ooh, I can be nice. I can give them hope.
Everett's marauders. They're just men, flesh and bone.
I love it.
Flesh can be torn. Bones can be broken. Alone, they will pick you off one by one. Together, we are unstoppable. On me!
I love it. I love when Hawke gives inspirational speech.
You'd make a fine captain of the guard.
Hey,
Look out for traps.
she's right there.
Be careful. Everett's marauders are deadly.
Okay. We need to clear the traps first. Really? Did that just trigger a trap? I'm angry about this. It was dumb. Hey everyone. Gather in. Throw you guys around.
I think it's over. Do you think it's over?
It's over for right now, but not for long. Ah! Everyone, move. Go around the other way real quick. Set off all the other traps, I suppose. Or the guards do first. Oh, crap. Kylie, I assume. Yep, that's decorations. Let me see. All right, let me see. We're at it. Nice. Oh, the border. That looks really good. Yeah, I like it. I like that. WizKid says, I've been pretty lucky so far, and I've been pretty lucky so far, and that most of my professors so far, at least in community college, have been true liberals in the sense of being very moderate. But now in university, I'm worried that I'm going to butt heads more, which is fine. But I don't like how much they can influence my future if I'm not careful. Yeah, and I will say, good teachers won't. And I've known quite a few, like, absolutely doctrinaire, sort of wokeists, I guess, who have been good teachers and haven't just, and have prioritized their actual teaching over, ideology. It's rare, unfortunately, but I've had quite a few, and that's both teachers and colleagues since I've been teaching.
That should be the last of them.
Who, while they are, obviously deeply and dangerously wrong,
Sure he rewards you.
A lot of them will still prioritize teaching.
Make sure the others know it.
Men, we're heading home.
Or at least they'll accept opposition, without penalizing students who criticize them. Ah. My leg, it's caught in a bear trap. Yeah, I've only known of very few teachers who will actually sort of retribute against students who ideologically oppose them. That said, I have known teachers who will basically just spout all the nonsense that they can, everything that they can get away with in terms of sort of woke ideology and all that, critical theory, leftism, etc. They sort of make it their goal to indoctrinate rather than to teach. And I will say, to be perfectly honest, indoctrination is not necessarily a bad thing if you are being indoctrinated into something true. Okay? For example, indoctrination used to just mean teaching doctrine, right? You are introduced to doctrine, indoctrination. Kylie, did you draw those, or are those stickers, or what is this? Love that. But again, like, indoctrination, the term got a bad reputation during the Protestant Reformation, really. Before that, it just meant teaching doctrine. That's Eric, you wanna?
I love doing that.
Yay! Got it. It was already triggered, but you still got it. Cool. Anyway. Nope, cards went down. WizKid says, the biggest thing I've had was an otherwise excellent English teacher. Tut me about my aversion to third wave feminism. Otherwise, the rest of the bad leftists have been too stupid to actually be intimidating. Ouch. Rude, if albeit probably true. Oh, there's stickers you found at Walmart. Cute. That's adorable. I love it. But the in high school, this is going back a long time. So this was back to like the late noughties. So this was before the world went completely off the deep end. But it was still... Oh, jeez. Hawke's dead. Great.
Mercy on you! I certainly won't.
Zap.
Be gone!
I love that.
Every battle is training for the next.
I need more injury kits. Always need more injury kits. Ooh, Mephal's Favor. Is that the one that that brings back dead people? Because that'd be nice. Wizkid says, right, it mimetically mutated into meaning straight up brainwashing. Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's back in high school I had an English teacher who was very much like that. Let's see. Oh, let's do this. Let's do the gunpowder courtesy thing. Let's do that. Yeah, I had an English teacher who was basically just a communist. Basically just outright communist.
You want to live, stay out.
What's going on, Mason?
God, Captain, I can't even describe.
On your time, son.
Reports of some haze with a stench of rust and throw-up.
Uh-oh.
A cloud, then a lingering mist.
Uh-oh.
Anyone caught in the cloud just went mad. Then the others just wretched themselves dead.
Uh-oh.
All right, keep your post. We'll take it from here.
Anything we can do to prevent that?
He's a good man. Trust that it's as bad as he says.
Wizkid says, the lady who convinced me anthropology was not for me was the extreme example, an extreme example of the latter. Yeah. And I mean, like I said, I had just an outright communist for an English teacher in high school who basically just made it his job to consistently and constantly challenge my political beliefs, where I at the time was, as I've mentioned before, and I'm deeply ashamed of this, I was a sort of Bushian neoconservative at the time. And he basically just made it his job to challenge that at every turn. In a lot of cases, instead of teaching English. It was another English class I had where I basically had to challenge the textbook because I knew a lot about history and I understood the culture of medieval England, and the outline of the textbook, when it described the culture of medieval England for the sake of talking about Canterbury Tales in particular, it basically left out the role of the church entirely when talking about the Canterbury Tales, which is a story about a group of pilgrims. Take all the time you need to think about that.
Let's hope this elf didn't try to make enough powder to sell.
Didn't sound like a merchant to me. Let's go.
So yeah, just straight up terrorism. Like I said.
Maker. We need to stop this mist. Find the source.
This should do the trick on those barrels.
Ah! Very bad. Okay. Where do I find out the latch? Ah, that's not good. Very bad. It's got to be one back here, right? Maybe? No, there's another barrel. How do you have so many hit points? You're just some lady. Where to find more of these latches? I need that immediately. Okay. There it is. That's it? No, it's not. There, okay.
These people aren't exactly helping us.
Need another latch to shut this properly.
I just got one. There. Okay, got it. Okay, progress. Did that do it? No. Ah, crap. There's more of them. Where do we find another latch? I need at least 2 more. My dog. Let's handle this. There, he has one. Whew. Oh, God. WizKid says she had a freaking Tumblr profile. It was awful. Thank God she was an adjunct, though. Yeah, Erica, I don't know if you're listening currently, but you had an awful English adjunct at one point, I recall. I don't know exactly, but it was, she taught poetry, predictably. You know, as one does. It's not a steel latch. Mercenary. No. Up here. Still need, what, 2 more? I think I have to just kill more of the mercenaries to get them, but I'm not sure. Mercenary assassin, mercenary commander. Ah, there it is. There we go. Okay, got it. Oof.
Easy. I'm just trying to find out what happened.
Is that Sirrah Hawke? You have enemies.
You don't look okay.
These poor people. You are a much better target.
You do not look okay. At all. Kevin says, I had to do my bi-weekly coof test at work today, and there was a significant crowd of people gathered at the testing area, and I told the nurse to put some cocaine on the swab for me. Understandable, given the circumstances.
So, care to explain your particular brand of crazy?
Canary take my people. My siblings forget their culture, then go to the Qun for purpose. We're losing them twice. So I get some help from your people. We'll take the Canary Thunder, make some accidents, and make them hate it. But this is all wrong.
I love the theming of this because she's kind of right. right? The Kunari are cultural parasites, right? They're not cultural parasites exactly. They're leeches, right? They attach themselves onto a culture, and then they draw out the outcasts. They work like, this is a weird analogy, but bear with me. They work like Islam in prisons, where there are outcasts that don't fit into any other section of society, that they just pull them in, and they give them meaning, they give them a place. And of course, unfortunately, that, especially in their case, in the Kunari's case, that place is wrong. It's oppressive, it's domineering, it's, all kinds of bad things, right? But it's fascinating to see this kind of an outside perspective on it, this side of matters. Because again, I think that she's ultimately kind of correct, and we'll see an example of this as well soonish. Maybe we'll do Mark of the Assassin like next week or in 2 weeks or something soonish. That'd be cool. Kelly says, y'all, my homework is on an article about skepticism towards psychology. It's pretty interesting to read. Yeah, it's a fascinating topic, right? And I can see some value in skepticism towards at least schools of psychology, or at least towards certain interventions that are promoted by psychology, right? So I can understand the reasoning behind skepticism towards medical interventions for psychiatric disorders, and it's in large part, I think, because some things get overprescribed for medication-wise, and then that logic gets kind of extended too broadly and says, well, that just means that medication is never appropriate for psychiatric treatment, and that's just obviously not the case, or should be obvious that that's not the case. But it's one of those where a singular problem within the field, or an excess within the field, leads to more broad, widespread skepticism, and that's dangerous. It's not a good thing, right? Kevin says, I love psychology, but I'm also amused by people who absolutely despise psychology. There's some psychological stuff going on there, I'm sure. Yeah, it's true. This kid says that I have thus far avoided the Koof tests entirely. That's very nice. It's very, very nice. Kevin says, as it pertains to psychology skeptics, right here. Right. WizKid says, the fun thing about psychology is that being a soft science, it annoys anyone in their own special way. Yeah, hard scientists don't like it because it's too soft. Humanities folks don't like it just because it's too scientific. Skeptics don't like it because it potentially overreaches, or at least that's kind of the idea. The naturopath types, the hippies, don't like it because it's too interventionist, it's too medicated and all that. Everyone has their pet reason to mistrust psychology, and that's fascinating, really. There's a lot that's interesting about that. Kylie says, the article basically says that anyone who says psychology is common sense and isn't a real science is more than likely misinformed, and they don't really understand psychology. Yeah, that's very true. Like pop psychology, like popular psychology, like folk psychology is very different from the academic study, and let's be realistic. That's the case for most things. Like, there is such a thing as folk, pick your discipline. Pick your academic discipline. There is a folk version of it that probably gets some things right, but it's also incredibly unsophisticated and is very susceptible to critique. And when you start confusing that for the real academic thing is when you get into hilarious straw man arguments. My expertise is in philosophy, especially. This applies especially to a couple of areas. One is skepticism. So there's folk skepticism, which is just, well, how do you know, man? Or like, well, philosophy is all just really just speculation about, well, what if the universe doesn't really exist? Or really, what if we're really in a simulation? Or what if we're really just, what if we're brains in vats or something? Or it's really just speculating about the trolley problem, or, and then similarly in theology or the philosophy of religion, the folk version is you went to Sunday school in second grade and that's all you ever learned about religion, right? And then people critique that, like, oh, well, that's silly. You believe in a sky daddy, or the lines from the New Atheists. The funny part is when those two things perfectly align in Bill Nye. He's gotten better about philosophy, not so much about theology, but whatever. Take the wins when you can get them. But yeah, confusing the folk version, the uneducated version of a discipline, with the actual intellectually sophisticated version is an easy way to go wrong. It's where the New Atheists went wrong with theology, honestly. That was their primary error. Bill Maher is another good example of doing this with a lot of disciplines, actually. He's kind of notorious for that. Wiskett said it's pretty sad that the place Kunari found for the outcasts of the outcasts is the utter destruction of the self. That's their culture. That's their entire thing, is absolute collectivism. Wiskett says another problem with psychology in general is the rampant replication crisis. That's in a lot of the social sciences, as I understand it. Turns out replicating a lot of landmark immoral studies in the modern era is hard. Well, partially because of IRBs. What is it? Institutional review boards. That's it. That say, hey, wait a minute. Maybe psychologically torturing people for the sake of science is maybe not an ethical thing to do. And hey, they're right. I for one, don't think we really... I'm not a scientist, to be fair, but I don't really think we need to replicate the Milgram experiments in the present day. That seems horrifying and torturous, because a lot of those people needed extensive psychological help because they thought they killed someone. Like, yeah, you can't just do that. You can't just do that. Institutional review boards certainly have their place in terms of making sure that studies are done ethically, and oh boy, do we need to be careful about doing that in psychology. But, I mean, to be fair, the replication crisis, aside from that, is a real problem, because especially more in the more social sciences, even the further social science direction than psychology, even when you can replicate experiments, you often don't get the same results. And this is from published work, and that's a big problem for the social sciences. Kevin says, when I was a kid, my interest in psychology began after watching The Silence of the Lambs and admiring the perceptiveness of Hannibal Lecter regarding people's thought processes. Very cool. Also, Kylie says, haha, Sky Daddy. Yeah, that's the go-to, like, theism straw man. That's silly. Kylie says, I had an interest in psychology since high school, and it was interesting to learn about the different case studies out there. Really have no idea why I didn't just be a psych major as soon as I got to college. Like, bio was such a bad choice for me. Yeah, I could never get it. Biology was my weakest science subject because so much of it was memorization, which I'm not strong with. Wiskett says Bill Maher is insufferable. Hard agree. Once in a while he'll stumble on a good take, but it's rare. But yeah, same kind of thing happened to me. I went to college absolutely certain that I was going to be a history and political science major, or at least political science, and that I was going to go to law school and I was going to become a lawyer. I completely changed majors and career paths my first semester in college. I wound up dropping political science after the first semester, after realizing that it's science, not political theory. It's non-normative, which bugged me about it a lot. It was wonkishness. It was examining the inner workings of politics rather than the theory behind it, which I despised.
Which of my people put you up to the theft?
It can still work. They're hidden in your city. They'll enrage the faithful and make sure the Kunari are blamed. Me, I'm finished. I just need a few more bodies. A few more.
I mean, let's be perfectly fair here. This is all the Kunari's fault. Woo! Yeah, this is like almost 100% the Kunari's fault, so... yeah. That's fine. Whee! Yeah. I love that. Alright, you need a potion. Sure you are. You're good. You're good. You're all good. Slam. Yoink. Oh, jeez, this is not good.
I better have a lot of these.
Ow. This is a hell of a fight. Alright. Oof.
The Arashok was right and wrong. You'll need to know about this.
He was mostly wrong, Aveline. He was mostly wrong. This was his fault. Like, almost beginning to end, this was his fault. I mean, he was factually wrong, and then he was also very, very ethically wrong. Kevin says, during college I've also had become more interested in theology and philosophy, working around the professors of those subjects, because it made my brain hurt, but a good, challenging way for me. That's the goal. Well, a goal. I've always said, I don't know if I've always said, but I've said for a while, that there are a few kinds of responses to the particularly mind-bending parts of a philosophy class. And it's either your mind is absolutely blown and you hate it. Your mind is absolutely blown and you love it. Or you just don't get it. Or, I suppose, your mind has already been blown in the past and it's not going to happen again. That's the other one. But for new philosophy students, you either get your mind completely blown open or you just, something doesn't click and you just don't really get it. And it's one of those. This is locked. That's interesting. Oh. How do I get out of here? I hear a lot of people coughing. This isn't good. This is very bad, in fact. But yeah, you can see it. You can just sort of, like, from the front of the classroom, from my perspective as the teacher, you can just sort of see those different responses. And you can see people react differently. And it really does boil down to those three, you know? And it's wonderful to watch. Oh, there's that. I could click on the gate. I'm big dumb. Big dumb dummy. Oh well, got it. Anyway, but yeah, I just love watching that moment, regardless of which moment it is. It's very nice to watch. WizKid says, to condemn their existence as blatantly anti-constitutional. I know I was in for a bad mediocre time. Wait, what are you talking about? To condemn their existence as blatantly anti-constitutional, I knew I was in for a bad mediocre time. Like, he was okay, definitely not like crazy anthropology professor, but still aggravating. Who are you talking about? I must have missed something.
I found your patrol.
Gotcha.
They won't be coming back.
You have stolen my duty, Basra.
Oh.
You were supplied for this task, but you have done this instead. Take what was meant for us.
Is he thankful? Is he angry? I have no way of reading Qunari. So bizarre. That looks cool. I still like this one better. Yeah, I still like that better. Oh, I still love that. All right, headwear, no, I can sell that. Yeah, I don't need that really. I can put those away. Ooh, there's a lot of things. I have a lot of new things. Brass nug charm. Health fast. Narration rate. No. Yeah, there we go. Belt, huh? Strictly better. Baldacine. Let's go sell some stuff over here while we're at it. You can do that here, right? Where's the merchant? No. Just kidding. There's no merchant here. I thought there was. I pay no attention, I guess. Wizkid says, yeah, apparently when she was younger, not much, Mrs. Frank used to sleep with some of her students. Ugh. Yeah, ugh. Yeah, her husband just kind of let it happen. Yeah, cuckoldry. Great. Gross. Real gross.
I was wrong about our thief.
It appears so.
They say we were careless with our trap, that this is our fault. But even without the sarcomech, there would have been death. This elf was determined to lay blame at our feet.
But your feet didn't do anything wrong, did they?
Selfishness, want, denial. How do you allow this to continue?
I have to say, WizKid, I have to say that unfortunately, academic philosophy in particular has a very well-earned reputation for very unprofessional sorts of degeneracy like that. Even among the very big names, and even among ethicists, maybe especially, it's really sad to see. The most recent example the big name example that comes to mind was, I think, John Searle. Just got in some huge hot water for basically like sexual harassment going back like 30, 40 years. I think it was John Searle. If it wasn't, I feel very bad for dragging his name through the mud, but I believe it was. It's really depressing to see. To the point where mostly for that reason, although I would add other reasons as well, like Me Too type stuff, but mostly because a lot of departments just don't trust their professors. Departments tend to have, philosophy departments at least nowadays, tend to have an open door policy. That does not mean you are welcome to come in at any time. What that means is if you are meeting with a student, you should have your door open. I get it. I mostly get why so students can't accuse you falsely of something, that kind of thing. That's fair, that's reasonable. I get that, and it's unfortunate that has to happen, but in the sort of Me Too era, it really does. But the other more sinister and kind of dark and twisted reason is that most departments don't trust their professors not to do anything untoward. Not a great thing. WizKid says, very much so. She annoyed me too. I got a C- in her class, which let me take a much better, crazy, in a different way history professor instead. It's just disgraceful. These people are way too arrogant and way too up their own rear ends. Yeah. You think you would have gotten more of a C- if you'd played along? Not to say you should. In fact, that's horrifying, and you definitely shouldn't. But what I mean to ask is, was there that manner of corruption, do you think, involved in all this? Or was it just, weird hot for teacherness? Because I know of that. I know there is a kind of a disturbing trend of trading grades for sexual favors in both by male and female professors. That's a disturbing trend as well.
If you dislike Kirkwall so much, why haven't you left?
Since we arrived, I have seen nothing but greed and weakness. Dwarves, humans, elves, just festering. No order, no goal. You are one of the few I have met with any...
I have something to say about this.
And yet this too was random, a result of selfishness. I
cannot
fathom how a mire like this can be justified. You say we should leave, but how can you bear to stay in this chaos?
That is an absolutely beautiful thing, right? What he is lamenting is one of the most beautiful things in any society. It is absolutely incredible that so much disorder and chaos can give rise to great things. And can give rise to great people like Hawke. He's saying that Hawke is a great man, but it's only out of selfishness and Exactly. It is a beautiful thing that self-interest, one's own goals, objectives, and motivations can lead people to being great and, notably, to helping to forming a society. That's how societies form, is by people with their own goals, their own motivations, and their own ends working together with other people in free, open exchange with other people so that they can come together to form a coherent society with no overarching goal, no single vision for the whole thing, because there doesn't need to be. And if there is one, it's going to be disrupting everyone else's goals. It's going to be pulling everyone away from what they ought to be doing, the thing they would be most productive doing, the thing they would be happiest doing, the thing that they would be serving others best. by doing. The absolute authoritarianism that the Arishok here is putting forward is antisocial to the greatest degree possible. Maybe it's the bow tie tonight, but I'm feeling very Jeffrey Tucker-ish in terms of spontaneous order and the sort of beautiful organic community that can arise from people just interacting freely. You know, I'll note with that. I will add this both to the description, and I'll throw this in the Discord and everywhere I can find it. If you haven't read any books by the philosopher and political commentator Jeffrey Tucker, you need to. I absolutely recommend at least several of his books. There's three big ones that come to mind, and they've written one after the other. Bourbon for Breakfast, It's a Jetsons World, and Beautiful Anarchy. I'll put a link to Beautiful Anarchy because it's the most relevant to what I'm talking about. It's the I don't think it's his most recent book, but it came out the latest of those three. And it talks about this kind of spontaneous order and the absolute beauty of looking at how people can live together without anything over them, without any authority, without any guiding principle to the society as a whole. It's a miracle. It is literally a miracle. It is, honestly, it's as good a reason to believe in divine providence as anything I've ever seen. The incredible spontaneous order that arises from people just doing their own thing. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And the Arishok doesn't give it nearly enough credit. So back to something less aspirational, Evan, because you had to say this. Don't trade your D for an A. No, don't. Oh, God. Whiskit says, oh, I crushed on the girl behind me too much for that. Oh, my God. Stop. Bonk you, too. The professor I wanted to study... Don't! Stop. It was your hippy-dippy art professor who I think might have gone... Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Put it away. Put it away, Eddie. Put it away. Because, you know, the thing that these authoritarian socialists, like the Arishok, is that they cannot comprehend spontaneous order at all. Even remotely, it's all about power and control for them. They can't fathom it. It's because they don't see the world as intrinsically ordered, right? It's because of my theory behind this, at least part of my theory behind this, is it's because of their fundamental commitment to atheism. They cannot commit to something like divine providence, and so they cannot commit to something like to spontaneous order. That order arises naturally from chaos. They can't fathom it. And this fits so perfectly well here as well. The Qunari are atheistic. They are committed atheists. They're naturalists. They believe that the Qun, the way, their way order of structuring society, that is the closest you get to supernatural, and it is still strictly naturalistic. It is because in their atheology, it is because there is no supernatural force ordering the world that they feel the need to order the world through the Qun. It's the same thing you see in Marx and anyone who follows Marx. In almost any authoritarian regime, especially in the 20th century, you see this. And on which note, that Murray Rothbard article I was mentioning, in the one from the early 90s, he talks about how a lot of like old right type people, and even a lot of libertarian type people, get accused, or at the time especially, got accused of wanting to repeal the 20th century when they talked about things like opposing or wanting to pull back, like things like the New Deal and stuff like that. That is the best thing ever to be accused of. I absolutely want to repeal the 20th century. Everything political that happened in the 20th century was a disaster. We are living at God willing, the tail end of one of the darkest ages of mankind. That being the 20th century, and so far looks like the 21st isn't going much better. Rothbard in the 90s had a lot of hope. And the ending of this essay, where he talks about the hope he had for the 21st century, was absolutely beautiful, and it's just tragic what has been happening so far, where we've been going. 20th century was bad. I really hope the 21st isn't somehow worse. 20th century was a nightmare, politically speaking, especially. The 21st so far hasn't been worse. We've had far fewer genocides, but the century is still young, sadly. It's life, glorious and wild. Let's see how he actually phrases this, and see if he's on the same path that I am here. I don't know. Maybe. Wiskin says either that or the beginning of the ultimate cultural dark age. Yeah, maybe. I still maintain that the real tipping point was 2015. The whole 20th century was a mess, politically especially, but culturally it was still in a gradual decline. In 2015, we went over a cliff. In a lot of ways, because that's when, like, a lot of what I've been talking about sort of aversion to truth, that's when a lot of that came really to the forefront and became culturally accepted. You know, it was 2015 and following. The clown world really began in earnest, and not just the sort of the political dark age that we saw throughout the 20th century. We still have that. Look around you right now. Look at Australia. Good Lord, look at Australia. I'm so depressed whenever I look at Australia. But you know, the cultural clown world that we're in now, I think, really hit a tipping point like 5 or 6 years ago.
Why would anyone want to change it?
That's it. That's all he says.
Like it?
It's a city of people living their lives for good or ill.
Karastan are soldiers.
I liked my speech better, but that was good.
So, they can never vary from that assigned path, never be other than they are meant to be.
Ugh.
But they are free to choose within that role, to accept and succeed, or deny and die. Glory is clear and defined. You allow chaos for good or ill, but one is clearly superior. Can you see how that certainty would benefit this whole city?
He's free to choose to obey. That isn't contradictory to you?
He chooses to be, as do we all, long before any of your meaningless freedoms are presented. Your kind may force our role to change, if the Qun demands.
Mm-hmm. Wiskin says, nah, man, December 21st, 2012, the apocalypse, the great structural reordering, found its genesis there. Maybe. There might be something to that. But, yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's something symbolic to the sort of ordering of the equinoxes in the heavens and all that. And I mean, it certainly was a big cultural moment, because so many people genuinely thought the world was ending, and then we did sort of have to transition. Same though, we could say the same honestly about 2000, about Y2K. You were not born yet, or very, very way too young at the time. But Y2K, I remember this distinctly enough. I was 9. Sorry, I was 8, I think. I remember there were a lot of people who basically thought the apocalypse was starting, and basically thought that everything digital was going to just get completely just wiped out. Right as that clock turned over, everything was just done. Turned out not to be. Turned out everything was going to be fine. And a lot of people were confused by it. It was a very, very strange shift. Hell, you can say the same thing about September 11th, 2001. Was a huge, huge cultural shift. It was a cultural moment. what I think made 2015 unique is that it wasn't a moment. It was a turning point, right? It was over the course of roughly that year or so that we saw culture generally shift, right? And it's not that new things just suddenly happened. It's that old things that had been sort of building up for a while, all of a sudden became culturally dominant, culturally accepted. I think that's the difference. I think that's really what the why I kind of point to 2015 as really the time, the moment, the switch. Oh God, Wizkid, I'm so old. Wizkid says I was literally 6 months old when Y2K came down. Oh man. Ah, jeez. Evan says, oh dude, I was in dispensationalist Pentecostalism during Y2K. It was wild. I bet. Oh man, Party Like It's 1999 really says it all. I forget when that song came out, but yeah, everybody leading up to that point basically just saw the New Year's of 2000 as some kind of massive turning point. And then when it turned out not really to be, it became a massive turning point because everyone thought it was going to be, and now everyone had to move on from it. So it was kind of a weird self-fulfilling cultural prophecy to an extent. To an extent. Not completely, but... Oh, geez. WizKid says, I mean, 2015 was unambiguously the worst year of my life, so I can see it. Oh, really? I didn't know that. I'm talking about big cultural shifts, but yeah. I mean, just in terms of politics. Just in terms of politics. Nothing but politics. Just focusing on politics. You had, in the U.S. even, you had the national recognition of gay marriage by judicial fiat. You had the start of the major wave of cancel culture by the campus protests and campus riots, if you want. You had the start of the sort of Trump phenomenon. You had the ending wave of the Obama administration and the various war stuff that came along with that, especially because he was ramping up the a lot of the wars in the Middle East in 2015, if you recall. All kinds of stuff like this. Internationally, Brexit, man. Well, when it kind of started, because they still basically haven't finished Brexit, because they're just like everyone is trying to delay that, even still really, but like. So much of Western politics and Western culture had a really, really fundamental shift in 2015. In and around 2015. Because I don't want to limit it to that January 1st to January 1st slot, because that's not how things work. Kevin says, I spent most of 2015 having daily panic attacks. Like no joke, actual medicated panic attack issues. It was a terrible year. Ooh. Jeez. Jesus. I mean, that was I mean, to be fair, I had a rough year too. I was dealing with trying to move into the new house and all of the stress that comes with that. I was worrying about graduate school and such. It was I think it was when I had to, was it? I was working on my comprehensive exams. It wasn't when I defended ultimately, I don't think. I'm trying to remember exactly. I don't think it was. Maybe? I don't know. WizKid says one of my favorite hobbies is watching YouTube videos about the year 2000. It's like quite a wild time. Oh, it sure was. CGP Grey has a great video about why Brexit is literally never going to happen. I'll look that up. CGP Grey. Brexit. I'll look that up. What's his name? Nigel Firth? No, not Nigel Firth. He's a musical comedian, and he did a Brexit anthem. I'll see if I can find it. It was delightful. It was absolutely delightful. Anyway. Speaking of god-awful cultural stuff, back to the Qunari.
She was angry to see her people losing their culture by claiming yours.
There you go.
Accept those who submit to the Qun. The weak naturally seek the strong.
Yeah, it's true, unfortunately.
We did not come equipped to indoctrinate. I am here to satisfy a demand you cannot understand.
It's been a long time.
It will take as long as needed. No ship is coming. There is no rescue from duty to the Qun.
This can only lead to war.
Stuck here.
This can only lead to war.
That is not the understanding of city leaders and their supporters.
Let them rot. Filth stole from us. Not now, not the Sarkamek. Years ago. A simple act of greed has bound me. We are all denied Parvolin until I alone recover what was lost under my command. That is why this elf and her shadows are unimportant. That is why I do not simply walk from this pustule of a city.
Pustule of a city, man.
Is not the demand of the Qun, and you should all be grateful. Thank you, human, for your service. Leave.
That's an Oxman ready to charge. The Viscount should know.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. That this can only lead to war. Yeah, WizKid, not Nigel Farage. God, I cannot remember his name. He's a comedian. And he made an anthem based on an old like English bar tune about Brexit. It was wonderful.
Did you misplace this?
Nice. All right. What's here anyway? Yeah, no, let's just move on. I think we still have to talk to everybody in their like little areas. So let's do some of that, shall we? Beers? Furs? F-I-R-Z or something like that? That might have been it. Somebody try and find this. It's gonna bug me.
I was in the chantry the other night, and there was a giant cheese wheel on the altar where the eternal flame should have been. There's something to it, I swear. It's a sign from Blessed Andraste.
No.
When was the last time you were with a woman?
Never. Women are harlots who seek to steal my life essence.
Seems like a lot of work for little gain.
Based.
Isabella, you look well.
Are you talking about the flush on my cheeks? It must be the whiskey. Do you remember the relic I told you about? The one I need to find? I've been following a lead. I'm so close I can taste it.
Isn't that what you said last time?
Oh, you mean when I went digging for that stash?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that turned out to contain several badly written poems and an old boot.
It could have contained the relic. I just thought I'd let you know that I may soon be taking you up on that offer of help.
You can count on me.
Thanks. I appreciate it. If I learn anything new, you'll be the first to hear about it.
WizKid says the irony of Britain of all places demanding freedom from a BS transcontinental collective is palpable.
Once more, I am falsely accused of whatever it is I am accused of. Falsely.
Someone swapped the text of my recruitment poster with some filth from the Blooming Rose.
Ooh, that does sound pretty good.
Sure. Fill the barracks with whores. But you've also filled the Rose with guards.
It is true what they say. The best comedy comes from tragedy.
Oh my god, I love it. So, on that note, right? So, I remember when Brexit happened. I was sharing a whole bunch of I mean, obviously, I was sharing a whole bunch of Nigel Farage memes because he is a treasure. But also I was talking about how, like, hey, you guys finally get to celebrate your own Independence Day. After all the Independence Days that you have given to the nations of the world, and by given, I mean very, very reluctantly given, but still, they really, it's about time they get one of their own, don't you think? Really. Like, yeah, I'm very, very pro Brexit. I was also, I will say, very pro Scottish independence as well, despite the fact that particularly the Scottish National Party, but Scotland in general is a goddamn political basket case and would probably collapse without the support of the rest of Great Britain. Still, I'm all for secession. Absolutely.
Why do you always win at cards?
Because I cheat, kitten. This trinket, it's Elven, isn't it? From your plan. Don't bet anything you're not prepared to lose. Here, have it back.
That's good advice. Eric, are you on here? You hear that, Arthur? Good advice.
Your finest whiskey for my friend over here. The Hanged Man's finest isn't much, but it'll get you just as drunk as anything you'll find in Hightown.
That's generous of you.
What's coin if not for spending, eh?
You could save up to buy yourself a new ship.
There you go, ruining our fun with good sense. I thought I'd have to watch myself around you, but as it turns out, you're all right.
Let's not.
What do you mean, I'm all right?
You don't judge people. You're not afraid to get your hands dirty. You know, little things like that. If I had someone like you on board my ship when the storm hit, maybe we wouldn't have been shipwrecked.
That pause was sketchy. But I'll also say, Hawke does kind of judge people. It's just he's willing to help. He's willing to help them get themselves out of the situations as he is judging them. It's like, wow, you're a complete idiot. Here, let me help you not be as much of an idiot. Which that is, especially as I'm playing him, but even just in general, that seems to be a kind of character trait of Hawke that I really, really like. You know, I really like the whole. He's totally judgy. He's totally going to criticize you, but that's not going to stop him from helping. That's delightful. Maybe it's not practical because maybe you're not ultimately helping as much as you would like, but certainly that's admirable in a way. That's very, very loyal. Oh, excuse me, that G Fuel is getting to me. It's certainly very loyal and certainly very kind, and it's certainly very, very genial, which I love. I love that. Wizkid says, them Scotsmen are quite batty. How do we feel about the Quebecois? I hate Quebecois. No offense. Pretend that made sense. The reason I hate Quebecois is because I hate Quebecois tourists who come to Florida as snowbirds and don't know how to drive. That's why. That's all. That's really all. I know nothing about Quebecois politics, or next to nothing about Quebec politics. I know nothing about Quebecois culture, other than the fact that a lot of their old people come to Florida to visit during the winter and don't know how to drive. So, there you go. Floridians have a weird love-hate relationship with snowbirds. We love them for their money and we hate them for everything else. Kevin says the only reason the Scots want independence is to return to the EU. They've lost themselves. They wanted independence before the EU. They just wanted independence to join the EU separately and kind of be socialists, which is really bad for them, and it really just it really hurts my plaid heart to admit that Scotland's such a goddamn basket case. But again, I still, first of all, anyone who breaks free from Great Britain is good in my book. But then beyond that, I am really a fan of less political centralization. You know, I really do think that political localism even if not economic localism, like we were talking about earlier, political localism is absolutely always a good thing. There's a good talk from Jeff Deist, I think. I think it was Jeff Deist. It might have been Thope Bishop. Some relatively well-known figure in the sort of the Libertarian Mises Caucus circle. I think it was Jeff Deist. I'll see if I can find it. On political decentralization. And that the sort of sudden plausibility of political decentralization is one of the only bright sides of the recent sort of crisis, political crisis at least, of the last year or so. That a lot more people are looking at big political unions and saying, what the hell are we doing in, well, like, you know, Floridians are looking at New Yorkers and Californians and going, stay the hell out. What are we doing in a country with you people? Right? And vice versa. Right? I know a lot of, like, especially New Englanders and Californians who are just like, what the hell are you Floridians and Texans doing? You're crazy people. We want nothing to do with you. Now I'm going to move there because houses are cheap. I mean, what? That aside, like, the whole national divorce idea is suddenly looking very appealing to a lot more people than it ever has before. And that's incredible. That's a great thing. It's a great thing. Wizkid says, I got the whole who will you choose subplot. Oh, geez. No. Oh, we're on the same page then. Quebec is full of crazy wannabe French. What did you expect? Fair enough. Are the French known for their poor driving? I actually don't know that.
Maybe you would have been shipwrecked sooner. I'm a terrible sailor.
Are you? I suppose I'll have to keel haul you till you shape up.
Oh, that's execution. I think, right? That's execution, right? Let's see what else she's up to. Still drinking, good lord.
Ooh, what's this? Oh, isn't that just the cutest thing?
Stop.
Baby animals are cute. Ships, not so much.
Thank you, Hawke. This was a thought.
This is the ship in a bottle that we found. Ship in a bottle. Which is, ship in a bottle is cute. I think that's cute. It's a great gift for Isabella, who is missing a ship.
About protection. Blondie's got enough trouble.
Blondie being Anders, by the way.
You made it into Hightown. I'd expect anyone else to get complacent, but you must have plans.
Yeah. I'm here to protect my family. I'm here to protect my family and kick ass, and I'm almost out of family. Oh, jeez. WizKid says sad Abraham Lincoln noises. Anything that makes Abraham Lincoln posthumously sad is probably a good thing. I'm just saying. The whole Lincolnite project was a disaster for the United States. That was when the United States transitioned from being plural to being singular. But before Lincoln, before the Civil War, people referred to the United States as plural, as in the United States are, and then afterwards began to refer to the United States is as a united nation, and that was a disaster. I'll see if I can find something from Tom Woods on Abraham Lincoln.
No plans yet. I'm simply trying to look out for my mother.
I suppose after the whole business with Carver, it's a good idea to hang on to what you've got. To be honest, I thought there might be a chance you'd want to go back to Ferelden now that things have calmed down. It's good to hear you're sticking around.
Kirkwall needs me.
If nothing else, you give this town respectability, my friend. So, we've got a whole city-state full of trouble to get into. Shall we get started?
Absolutely. Kevin whistles Dixie in the background to taunt sad Lincoln.
You might not want to be near anything breakable when I tell you, though.
Can that guy be demonetized? Now I'm almost aiming to get the channel demonetized. Maybe I should just whistle Dixie every now and then. Not a bad idea.
Why don't I buy you a pint and we'll talk?
You
Oh
just
boy.
keep making this harder.
Oh boy.
Although I won't say no to a pint if you're buying. I've had an ear out for Bartrand. After the deep roads, he ran to Ravane, probably because he knew I couldn't track him. But I hear he might be back in Kirkwall. He called in loans from a few of his contacts in Hightown.
Ooh.
Was he staying in Hightown or just passing through?
If my information is good, and it's always good, he has a house there. Which gives
This is such a good quest. Alright, we're totally doing this.
My dear sweet brother.
Oh my god, we're totally doing this. I love this quest. I love this quest.
Would Bartrand really risk coming back here?
I think we both know by now that Bartrand would risk anything for money. There's a much better market here for that trinket he stole. And all his contacts are in Kirkwall.
How are you holding up, Varric?
Me? My no-account backstabbing brother is practically in arm's reach. I couldn't be better.
We need some answers from your brother.
I agree. Bianca's been missing him something awful. Let's
I
stop
love
by
this
his new
quest.
house. Welcome him back to the neighborhood and all that.
You have to when you're dealing with this lot. Let's see how you like dropping and pinching your ass and trying to lick you.
Ugh. Indeed. Wizkid says, no, I agree, but he had his heart in the right place. It makes me feel conflicted because I love the myth of the man, but it saddens me with my political evolution. Check out my talk. I have a lecture on abolition of man. Where I talk about the sort of mythologizing of historical figures and its usefulness, because I mean, it's easy to say, it's in Hightown, right? Oh, you have to go at night. Okay, let's do it. Let's do this next. It's easy to say that we ought to just tell the truth about historical figures, but it's not that simple. Why is everything grayscale? Everything's not rendering properly. Uh-oh. This is weird and I don't like it. Yeah, it's fine, I guess. What is this, near? Yeah, the whole city is just not rendering properly. Oh, up there is. Oh, jeez, this is weird. Alright, it's fine, whatever. We'll just go where we need to go, and hopefully it'll be fixed. But yeah, I wind up talking there in that video about the sort of mythologizing of historical figures, and that there is a benefit to it, right? It can teach us lessons, but so can the negative things that we can teach about historical figures, right? If we teach that Lincoln was a unifying hero who fought to end slavery and all that, then that's a very good thing. It's a very important lesson to learn, right? That he can be a hero, but also we can learn that Lincoln was a tyrant, right? That Lincoln was the man who basically ruined the union of the states as it had been established, who went to war to prevent people from establishing their own freedom, right? All of this. Both of those lessons are true, right? And both of those lessons are lessons that we need to learn. The trouble is teaching them both as mythology, because mythology works best when it's wholeheartedly believed, you know? And it's hard to do that with both. I don't know if you've seen it. If you haven't seen my video on the abolition of man, check it out. It's relevant to this. It's very, very relevant to this. WizKid says, if this is what I think it is, this is one of the best quests in the game. Absolutely. I love this so much. This is maybe my favorite. It may be my favorite.
This is still our best lead. We might find something that'll take us to Bartrand.
My thoughts exactly.
Here we go. I think this is what I think it is. It might be the next thing, but I think it's this. Oh, here we go. Yeah, this is it.
So that's how you greet your brother, is it, Bartrand? Fine. Say hello, Bianca.
Here we go.
You're pathetic! You're gonna regret this! You're pathetic!
Wait, what are his abilities? No, not that. Where is it? Jesus.
Let's dance, you sons of bitches! I'll take you all! I'll take you all!
Badass, Merrick. Just blow them up. Just blow them the hell up. Which one is it?
I'm coming for you, you something bastard! You'll pathetic! I'm coming for you, you something bastard! I'll take you all! You let's dance, you sons of bitches! Let's dance, you sons of bitches! Let's dance, you sons of bitches! I'll take you all!
Oh, Barrett, please forgive me, my brother. I was just jealous of you. How could I ever compete with you for Mother's love?
You're strong and handsome, and so very smart. What?
Why lie now about this? What have you to gain?
What do you want from me? I broke in, I found my brother, and it was awkward. Family business.
Oh,
No.
God.
I think there's more to it.
Fine. You want the gory details? I'll give you the gory details.
Because you have to remember once in a while that we're dealing with a gratuitously unreliable narrator. Oh my god. Whisket says, I can't remember how tense this part made me. Oh yeah, this is,
These corpses aren't even stiff yet, Hawke. Somebody's been in here today.
yeah, this is, oh, okay, hey there. Oh, crazed guards.
What did my brother do to these men? They were completely out of their heads.
This quest is such a major precursor to the next game. Like, compared to everything else. Whee! I love those spells so much. I love the Force Mage spells. They're so ridiculous. I don't know where the meteors are coming from, but I don't care. Master storyteller. I know, right? God, I love Varric so much. Varric might be my favorite character in the series. Whee! Woo! Now it makes sense when he says that. In the weird delusion version, it didn't make a lot of sense him saying that. Alright, here we go. There's a big over. You know what? I'm going to save. I'm going to save. Because if I die now, it will be very, very bad. Oh, God. Oh, great. Okay. Scatter! Whee! Come here, everybody. Ooh, that was very close. All right. But like you said, I love Varric's role as like the master storyteller, the guy who is actually telling the story of the game. That's one of the coolest things about this, about him as a character, is that the whole thing is from his perspective. And so what a lot of the fans will talk about this too is that it's very important to remember here that this is not Hawke. This is Varric's version of Hawke. Right?
Boyfriend, what have you done?
That basically everything that's going on here is Varric's version of the story. Not so much, not necessarily exactly what really happened. And that might be a huge difference. Okay. Well, now what? So, it's a bunch of people freshly dead. And again, a sort of de-rendered... Some of the textures are being wonky. I don't know what's up with that. Oh, hey, a door. Here we go. Oh, there's traps. You're Varric. Handle that for me, yeah? Uh-oh. A lot more coming. Yeah, this is not great. There. Ooh, what is that? Is that a freaking spellcaster? This isn't good. No, it's not a spellcaster. Okay, I think we got this.
Varric? Is that you? Praise the ancestors. Hold up. I know this man. He's Bartrand Stewart. Hugin, what happened here?
Varric, your brother. That statue he brought out of the deep roads. Bartrand said it sang to him, even after he sold it. I've been hiding in here, but the guards, they're like crazed animals. I didn't dare go past them. Everyone in this house has gone mad.
Kylie says, we finished the arts and crafts project for my club, y'all. Made an Instagram selfie board. Oh, cool. WizKid says, I'm pretty sure your friend and mine, Noah Caldwell Gervais, mentioned in his review that the reason for Flemeth's radical redesign of Dragon Age 2 from Dragon Age Origins is thanks in part to Varric's embellishing. Honestly, that makes some sense. And then, because she's Flemeth and she's an incredibly powerful Witch of the Wilds, she just kind of took on the new appearance in Dragon Age Inquisition because she heard Varric's stories and thought it was cool. That's my headcanon. I'm going for it. I like that as an explanation. I do.
What did he do to the guard to turn them to this?
He's been forcing them to eat lyrium. Some of the
Oh,
servants,
God.
He cut pieces off them while they were still alive.
Oh, God.
He says he's trying to help them hear the song. Please stop him.
Bartrand's not exactly a nice guy, but this doesn't sound like my brother.
This is very reminiscent of stuff we're going to be seeing in Inquisition. Very reminiscent. God, this is such a... It's... Have I? I'm trying to remember if I have played Dragon Age 2 since I played Inquisition. I think I did once. But I never made this connection so strongly. Man, this is such a direct link to like all of the Red Templar stuff in Inquisition that we'll wind up seeing. I don't want to say too much more. Those of you, who haven't seen it or played it yet, I don't want to spoil too much more, but man, this is just such a precursor. This is such a close precursor. This is amazing. Anyway, let's move on. Let's keep figuring this out. Yeah.
I haven't seen anyone alive in here except for guards. What happened to the rest of the staff?
I don't know what Bartrand did to them. By the ancestors, the sounds coming from his study. They're dead by now. I hope.
What do you mean you hope they're dead?
Just whatever you find in that room. Varric, give them a merciful death.
You said he sold the statue. To who?
I don't know. It's why we came back to Kirkwall. He was already starting to rant about the sodding idol and its singing. On his better days, he hated the thing, wanted to get rid of it. But the minute it was gone, he got worse.
Everything will be all right. You're safe now.
I wish I believed that, human. Bartrand took the servants and locked himself inside the study. No one's come out for days. And those sodding lunatics just keep prowling the halls.
Then we go in after him. Come on, Hawke. Let's finish this.
Wizkid says, "See, he has good takes sometimes." I'll have to look into it. Like I said, I have said this before. I am a much bigger fan of Dragon Age 2 than most fans of the series. Most fans of the series, 2 is by far their least favorite. I really, really like Dragon Age 2. I don't know if I would go so far as to say that it's my favorite of the series. That might be going a little too far. Ooh, I get a specialization point. Spirit Healer. I need to get to Revival. Yeah. I need to get to Revival. Yeah. All right. Let's check the other rooms first. Treasure. Oh yeah, by the way, I'm not sure if anyone's ever noticed this, but Fred from Scooby-Doo consistently pronounces treasure as treasure. So that's if you ever catch me saying that, it's because of that. Nope. Melt of the Primevals, huh? Fire, cold, electricity, and nature. That's cool, but not terribly useful for me. Oh, jeez. Oh, hi. Ow. Oh, Jesus. Meryl's down. That's not good. That was really too quick. Oh, Jesus. Okay. Oh, Bartrand is right there. Okay. Ah! Oh, how is she up?
I shouldn't have sold the idol to that woman. It was a mistake. A mistake.
Bartrand, get a hold of yourself. Do you know where you are? Do you know what you've done?
Back.
You'll help me, won't you, little brother? Help me find it again. You're always a good one. Help you? Bartrand, you left me to die. You left all your men to die. And for what? Some trinket? Look at yourself. Look at what you've done to the men and women who served you. Where's your nobility, brother? Where's your dwarven honor?
He doesn't look so good. I'm not sure he even knows we're here.
I didn't come here just to leave without telling my brother he's a filthy nuglicker and demanding some answers. Why'd you do it, Bartrand? Were you already crazy before we even went into the deep roads? Or was it all the statue?
Idol, not a statue. It wants to be worshipped. It wants me. It wants me back. She stole it from me.
Interesting. Once again, we only know so much about this, about the idol, from this, and then also from Inquisition. It's been heavily suggested that, as I put this in the description last week, so I won't just keep repeating it, but at least from the trailers and a lot of the discussion and stuff, it's very heavily suggested that this idol is going to play a major role in Dragon Age 4, or whatever they wind up calling that as well. So we'll probably find out a good deal more about it.
Who did you sell the idol to, Bartrand?
She glittered like the sun, but her heart was ice. She will not feed it, not like I did.
Feed it? That's horrifying.
Bartrand was a bastard when he sealed us in the deep roads, but he wasn't a madman.
Bloody ancestors. Why bring me this close and still nothing? For 3 years, all I've wanted is to look him in the eye and get his answers. Why he abandoned us in that tide. What any of this was for. I guess there's nothing he could say that would make it right.
You don't want to do this, Varric. You're not the sort of man who'd kill his own brother.
No. I've been counting the days until I could put a bolt in his conniving little brain. It's not just us. Look what he did out there. How many more people will die for his folly?
He has to be stopped. There are other ways than murder.
Fine. We'll have to lock him away somewhere. I'll send somebody to get him. Come on, Hawke. The sooner we get out of this house, the better.
I think we do wind up finding out a little more about him. And that he does wind up getting help, but it may not be enough help, you know. So. Oh good, I needed that health potion. And using a great deal of health potions. What I might do is, in between streams, I might do a bunch of like crafting and equipment management and stuff, so you guys don't have to deal with that. But yeah, that's about it. Actually, we have we're running out of time, so let's wrap this up, shall we?
Did you need something, Varric?
A stiff drink, maybe. I feel like I've been kicked by a horse. You'd think being left for dead in the deep roads would have prepared me for Bartrand going nuts, but it really didn't.
If I ever had doubts about who was the better brother, they're long gone. You did good.
No, please, Hawke. There was never any doubt. I'm the handsome, irresistibly charming one. I'll deal with Bartrand somehow. Make her that'll be even more of a joy than it used to be. I still can't believe what he did in that house. It's one thing to walk away and leave us to die, but that...
He didn't do this on his own. The artifact from the tide warped his mind.
Don't let him completely off the hook. He chose to steal the damned thing. He brought it on himself. Anyway, thank you. I'll keep looking into who bought that blighted statue. At the very least, they need to be warned about what happened.
Yeah, no kidding. What is with this? Why is there still rendering issues? Anyway, I'll do a level up and stuff off stream as well. So, I think that is, like I said, about all we have time for. So, thank you all so much for joining me. I have a heck of a lot of things to find to put in the description for this. So thank you again. As I keep saying, I'm still working on the Loki video. Expect that in the next few days. Hopefully, I'll at least be finished with the first edit soon. I've been doing a lot of class stuff this week, so the Loki video has been pushed back a bit. But it should be done within the next few days, at least the first edit. Unfortunately, that means I have to run it through YouTube's copyright checks, which means I'm probably going to have to re-edit, put some god-awful filters on some things, and hope for the best. We'll see what I can do. In any case, expect that soon, hopefully within the next few days, at worst within the next week or two, depending on how many times I have to edit and re-upload. In any case, that is coming soon, so look forward to that. It should be a good one. I like a lot of what I said about it. I think it is actually very helpful in terms of understanding some very, very difficult concepts in the philosophy of time. And I think that Loki is actually a good example to look to help understand these very difficult to understand things. Otherwise, join me again Monday for more Far Cry 5. We're about to take out the first of the cult lieutenants. So that should be good. That'll be where we start, and then we'll move on from there. And then back right here, hopefully with the textures fixed and with some other stuff done on next Thursday. So welcome back to the proper semester. I'm also thinking about doing some other actual course contents type videos, so keep an eye out for some things like that. I might do something on Plato's Euthyphro, depending on a few things. So with that, thank you all for joining me once again, and have a good night. I'll see you next time.